Welcome to 365 Christian Women, where we celebrate the strength, faith, and grace women live out every day. You'll hear real stories of real women who faced challenges, embraced hope, and learned to trust God through every season. These stories remind us that He's always at work, shaping hearts, building faith, and writing something beautiful through every woman's journey. Catherine Booth, United States of America. In 19th century London, 30% of the population was poor, individuals earning fewer than 21 shillings a week. Those in power, political, social, or religious, believed the poor had caused their own struggles through laziness, alcohol, and being morally deficient. Though charities and the workhouse provided some relief, the majority of people agreed if the people wanted to get out of poverty, they would have to do it themselves. But Catherine Booth and her husband William were different. Though they wanted to see the poor improve their morals and station, they also believed in bringing the hope and gospel to the poor right where they were. They understood that sometimes people need help and open arms. This idea wasn't always met positively. For example, once when William invited the poor to church, fellow ministers accused him of ruining the church's respectability. But William wouldn't be deterred, and Catherine was determined to follow her own call alongside her husband. Their actions eventually birthed the Salvation Army, but their journey started with walking down the street and visiting the poor in their homes. When Catherine Booth was 30 years old, she was helping her husband William in spreading the gospel to people on the streets. Though Catherine was busy taking care of their children, she went about her shopping errands and met with drunk women on the sidewalks. She talked with them and told them about Jesus. Catherine always spoke as one sinful woman to another, but she didn't want to meet the women only in the streets. She wanted to visit them in their homes as well. She wanted to bring them joy and hope. Perhaps I could talk to those poor, forlorn creatures when I meet them and later call on them in their homes, she said to her husband. William was taken aback. You are not strong enough for this kind of work, and you cannot be certain just what a drunkard, man or woman, will do. Some of them are harmless, but others might actually assault you. I'm sure no one, whether man or woman, would attack me, Catherine replied. But William wouldn't give up on his disapproval. You don't know drunkards as well as I do, he said. If you did, you'd know that you can never predict what one of them will do. Catherine listened to her husband's warning, knowing the truth in his words, but God's calling was stronger. She continued to talk to the struggling women in the street and visited their homes to spread the gospel. One particular home stood out to her, showing her not only how difficult it was to be poor, but also how desperately they needed God's love. Entering this home, Catherine found a woman lying on rags. She was alone and had just given birth to twins, but had no one to help her. I can never forget the desolation of that room, Catherine wrote. By the woman's side lay some bread crust and a lump of lard. A poor meal, Catherine thought, for a woman needing nutrition to feed her babies. I fancied a bit of butter, the woman said apologetically. She went on to explain how her lover had tried to find butter for her but couldn't, and instead had gotten her lard. The lard was fantastic, she explained. Catherine wondered if she herself should be eating lard with her bread instead of butter so that she could better minister to the woman's needs. But lard was the least of Catherine's worries. She made sure the woman was comfortable and was given the help she needed. Though there wasn't a tub to wash the newborn twins in, Catherine found a broken pie dish and set to giving them a bath. It was a simple gesture, but her small action in bathing the twins as their mother recovered softened the woman's heart. The gratitude of those large eyes, Catherine wrote, that gazed upon me from that wan, shrunken face can never fade from memory. The woman had been desperate for help and had found none until Catherine came along, and it encouraged Catherine to continue the work. And though Catherine's work did wear on her health, she never lost the joy that came with helping the poor. My whole soul was in it, and I became deeply attached to the drunkards, she wrote. The king will reply, Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Matthew 25:40. Hi, I'm Gina. I'm a mom, a wife, a grandmother in Denver, Colorado. In the introduction of today's story, we are told of the eventual founding of the Salvation Army by Catherine and William Booth. But what stood out to me was that their ministry started right where they were. Catherine, in her role as wife and mother, found opportunity to share the love of Jesus to those who were hurting, it states, while on her way to the market. In 1 John 3:16-18, John says, "By this we know love, that he, Christ, laid down his life for us. If anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth." I am challenged by today's story to look around me with the eyes and the heart of Jesus. To whom might I share his love and serve today? I think that it starts by putting him first, above my personal to-do list, and allow for interruptions that are actually divine appointments, invitations to be part of God's story.